Hi everyone, it's 6:48, and yes, I got a late start on my closing comment. The market was kind of a replay of yesterday, which basically was very strong early in the morning and then some weakness in the afternoon. The Dow had been up 450 or so. It finished up 211. That's a little bit less than the 218 it was down yesterday. The NASDAQ was up 125 again, which was about two-thirds up on the range. However, we're at the top of the Bollinger Bands, and that generally induces some weakness. And the S&P, after being up 55, finished up 32. The first chart that I have here is the gold, and I just wanted to show it to you. We got stopped out yesterday for the second time in a couple of days, and of course, today we tested the low early and ran straight through and broke out above this downtrend line that I've drawn. We're a little bit higher tonight, not much, but this is still an area of resistance around 1750, so I doubt that I'll be doing much there. The other chart that I want to show you is the oil. I pointed it out first thing this morning as being in this very toppy area where we had the top of the range before we broke to the downside. Now we're back in that area, and we're also banging up against the declining 50-day moving average. We actually had an inside day for most of the day, meaning a lower high and a higher low. Inside days are generally considered insignificant because they don't show any direction. But towards the end of the day, we actually came down and closed below yesterday's low. And tonight we're up about 30 cents, which is really nothing to speak of. In any event, the market internals were a little stronger. Volume was weak, but on the NYSE, we were 2.5 to 1 to the upside, advanced declines, and on the NASDAQ, 2.2 to 1 up. In the Dow, we were 16 higher and 14 lower, with the big winners being Boeing adding 46 Dow points, Goldman Sachs 37, Home Depot 36, McDonald's 28, and Visa 27. The only notable loser today on the Dow was UNH. It was down 26 Dow points, which is really pretty minor. We've had UNH up and down triple digits, so that's really not much. We started the day with news of the weekly jobless claims being down 667,000 to 3.169 million. And while they were down, the estimate was for 2.9 million, so that was a miss. And of course, tomorrow, being the first Friday of the month, we have the unemployment number, and we'll have to see how that works out. From the earnings of last night, we had PayPal carryover. It was up 18 or roughly 14%. We had Lyft up 566 or 21.7%. And for that reason, we had a little bit of booing action in Uber all day today. I'll get to their earnings in a second. And Moderna was up $4 and change, 424, 8.7%. This is a little Cambridge biotech company that the government has given $1.5 billion on some very promising COVID vaccine uh, development, and it was up today. I think when they first started talking about it, it was about 16. It closed around 58 today, on the news that the FDA had given them permission to go to phase 2 human trials. So that's pretty big. As I mentioned, Uber was buoyed up a little. It finished the day at 30.93, which was up $3.11, or just under 12%. They reported horrendous numbers. While revenues were up, their losses just exploded. This is a company that lost 29 billion, pardon me, 2.9 billion versus last year's 1.4 billion and this year's expectation of about 1.4 billion. The biggest area of growth, as it turns out, is Uber Eats, which was up substantially, except that they don't make any money on it. So, it's they only lose a little on every order, but they make up for it in volume. In any event, the stock moved lower to 29 and a half, and then the conference call started, and the stock started to climb based on the CEO's comment that for the last 4 weeks that they've shown improvement in ridership. So 4 weeks of improved ridership, but they also disclosed that they were canceling their forward guidance for the year. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but the market is so hungry for good news that even this one turned around. And the last trade that I saw after hitting 34.19 was 32.60. So that's $1.67 up from the close, which was up $3.11. So you're looking at about a $5 gain. Roku reported a top line beat and a bottom line about break even. The stock was trading at 137.50, and that was up 9.98. But the commentary by the CEO there sent the stock turning down. This is a company that has come from basically nothing to $140, but they are also not projecting any profit, not this year and not next year. So, that's somewhat questionable. On the hospitality side, we had Booking.com, which was down 19%. It was down 51% in revenues year over year. And the last I saw on the stock was down 48. It's a $1,300 stock, so that's not too overwhelming. TripAdvisor also had a miss on both top line and bottom line. And by the way, I've had the comment that people don't understand what I mean when I say top line and bottom line. Top line is revenues. The bottom line is exactly what it sounds like, the bottom line for the company. So it's revenues, top line, earnings, bottom line. The stock was trading down 90 cents at 17.82, which was 5.2%, but it is down 40% year to date. And Dropbox had its first GAAP earnings in today's report. They beat both on revenues and earnings. The stock was 21.89. It was up $1.50. And the last trade that I saw here was after hitting 23.60 on the news, fell all the way back to 21.70, which was down 19 cents. I also made a comment last night about Bitcoin. It seems that it has really put in a nice little base and has started up. And in tonight's Daily Note, there will be a link. Paul Tudor Jones, a truly giant in investing, came out today with a report that said that based on uh, what the Fed is doing with money and the government is doing with money, makes Bitcoin look like gold in the 1970s. For those of you who weren't around in the 1970s, that's when Nixon allowed us to start buying gold, and it was basically $35 an ounce. So with today's close at 1725, you can see that Mr. Jones is really talking up Bitcoin. It closed $10,010, up $670 today. I wrote it up last night that I expected the break to be up to the 10,000 to 10,250 area, but I in no way expected that to happen today. In any event, have a good evening, and I'll be back to you first thing in the morning.